Good day, friends. You're watching Tax Dosti videos. I'm your tax host and tax dost, Anthony Williams. And today we'll be talking about the most confused topic in Pakistan regarding taxes. How much tax do I have to pay if I'm selling my property or if I'm buying property in Pakistan? So you can download this Excel sheet, this PDF document from taxdosti.com, and I've tried to make it as easy as possible. So on here you can see that first we'll be talking about the sale of immovable property for tax year 2025, and the section is 236C, and basically we want to calculate the exact tax rate. And definitely there are some levels of buying. For example, if you buy property for 50 million, 100 million, 150 million, so then there is a change in tax rate. But even if you go from being an active filer to active late or being a non-filer, there is change of rates. So there is confusion on the horizontal level as well as the vertical level, and similarly for purchase of property. And just remember, these are advanced taxes, these are totally adjustable. Whatever amount or percentage is deducted from your purchases or sales, you can get that refunded or adjusted against your tax liability for 2025. So we are in the last month of the year 2024. It's 1st of December 2024, and the government has just highlighted that there is certain exemption or tax rate reduction for non-resident people. And a disclaimer, this is our tax dosti working. This may have some errors, so it's better to consult us then privately, or to consult your lawyer before taking action. So let's start. If the best scenario is if you are a resident person or a non-resident person, as long as you file your returns every year on time, you'll be active filer. And the rate, if you buy if you're selling a property, it will be 3% for properties under 50 million, 3.5 for 100 million, and 4% for any property that is more than 100 million. So in this way, and this is the reference of the law, section 236C and the first schedule, part 4, division 10. So all you have to remember is this is the safest zone. Even if you are a non-resident or a resident, you pay minimum advance tax at the time of sale of your property, which is then adjustable. Similarly, if this is the safe zone, if you are purchasing property and you are an active filer and you are a resident or a non-resident, the rates you have to pay are the same: 3.5%, 4%. For example, if you are buying a property that was more than 100 million, say 110 million, 120 million, 150 million, 4% would apply, and you would have to pay that amount according to the FBR rates. Now the confusion is, if a person is non-filer and a non-resident, because he or she don't have any income in Pakistan, should they be penalized like non-filer resident of paying 10% in the case of sale, or in the case of purchase a non-filer resident has to pay 12% for property up to 50 million of value, 16% for property up to 100 million, and 20% for properties more than 100 million. It could be 150 million, above 100 million. So 20% they have to pay. This is the section BA and rule 1 of the 10th schedule. So should the non-resident pay? No. The tax reduction or the tax exemption in second schedule part 4 clause 111 AC mentions that this rate will not be applied. So then what rate will be applied for? So for a non-filer, the rate will be applied 3%, 3.5, 4%, which is the special rate if you are active. But if you are non-filer, there is reason for a non-resident to be a non-filer, and because he or she may have no Pakistan source income. So to penalize them as a resident person non-filer, it would be unfair. So this is the rates for non-filer, non-resident if you're buying 3%, 3.5, 4%, depending on the value of the property. And similarly, if you're selling and you're a non-filer, non-resident, the rates are 3%, 3.5, 4%, depending on the value. And this value is determined on the FBR values. Now comes a confusion which is still there, that active late resident persons have to pay double the amount. So if a resident person is late, meaning he or she has filed their return in the past 3 years, any of their returns late, they will be active, meaning on the active taxpayer list, but they'll be considered late. So what will be the rate? So if the property is up to 50 million, 6%, 100 million, 7%, more than 100 million, 8%. Now there's a lot of talk for the sellers, active late non-resident sellers and active late non-resident sellers, that they don't have to pay this same rate. They have to pay 3%, 3.5. I think professionally that the law is worded in such way that they too have to pay 6%, 7%, 8%. But maybe if non-filers are being given this benefit, then definitely active late non-residents may also be given this benefit of 3%, 3. But the law is not clear on this, and definitely a case to the court will determine, or the tribunal will determine it better. In the meantime, you can apply all non-residents, if you are non-resident active late or non-resident non-filer. You when generating the challan, tax challan, you have to apply, and these benefits are only for those non-residents which have Pakistan origin card or NICOP, National Identity Card for Overseas Pakistani. If you have CNIC and you are a non-resident, you will definitely not be able to uh, uh, take benefit of these rates. So I can understand it's quite confusing, but the sweet spot is to be an active filer. Then it doesn't matter if you're resident or non-resident, you'll have minimum rates. If you are active but late, resident person has definitely have to pay double the amount. For the time being, non-residents are given relaxation, but I think the law doesn't specify, because the exemption only mentions rule 1, not rule 1A. And for the non-filer resident, definitely there is a higher penalty, and non-resident non-filer, there is lower rate. Similarly, at the buying stage, the resident non-filer has to pay 12%, 16, 20%, but the non-filer, because this exemption specifically deals that rule 1 will not apply, and rule 1 basically is regarding non-filers, and it is and if it doesn't apply for non-residents, so this category we can be safe that non-filers, non-residents have to pay these rates, and for purchases, and for selling almost the same rates, meaning if it's for 50 million, 3%, 100 million, 3.5, and 4. So you can go through this document. You can download it from our home page, taxdosti.com, and you can also find a checklist for rental income and salary, what kind of documents you have to, and we'll be adding other documents too for you to checklist and documents to download. So hopefully you'll manage to locate north and south. For example, if you're selling, so come here, see how much. For example, if you're selling for about this amount, then come down here and see you're a resident, non-resident, and then see what is your status. There are 3 types of status: active filer, active late, non-filer, and then go in this rates. And after that, do consult your professional, tax professional. Our numbers are also given below the video. I'll see you in the next video. If you have any questions, you can ask here in the comment section, and hopefully on the website you'll find helpful information and other videos also. I'm your tax host and tax host, Anthony Williams. Let's meet in the next video. Thank you very much.